Daniel was just another human on the starship Varian. The ship was large, cold, and full of aliens who barely noticed him. He worked as a junior science officer, doing boring reports, cleaning test tubes, and analyzing rocks from dead planets. To most of the alien crew, humans were still new, weak, and not very smart. Daniel was used to being ignored, and honestly, he liked it that way. That morning, everything felt normal. He walked through the quiet halls, his boots making soft echoes. On the metal floor, aliens passed by, tall ones with shiny skin, short ones with 6 eyes, some with no face at all. They didn't greet him, and he didn't care. He was heading to the medical bay for a quick checkup. Part of the weekly health protocol. Inside, the room smelled sharp like metal and chemicals. Alien machines hummed and beeped. A tall, blue-skinned nurse stood by the scanner. Her name was Lyra, one of the medical scientists. She was quiet, always watching, always writing notes. "Sit," she said softly, pointing to the chair. Daniel sat down, yawning. "Let's get this over with." Lyra picked up a silver injector with green liquid. Her hand shook slightly. Daniel noticed, but said nothing. She pressed the injector to his neck, and it clicked. Then her eyes widened. Just for a second, she quickly turned around and placed the injector back on the tray. Daniel blinked. That didn't feel like the usual shot. She looked over her shoulder, voice low. "You didn't get the usual shot." "What?" he said, confused. Lyra stepped close, her voice just a whisper. "No one can know, not yet." Then she walked out, fast, leaving Daniel sitting alone, stunned. His neck began to tingle. At first, it felt like heat, then cold, then like tiny fingers crawling under his skin. He rubbed his neck, trying to shake it off. A sharp pain hit his back, just under the shoulder blade. He gasped and leaned against the wall. That night, in his tiny cabin, Daniel couldn't sleep. The pain had moved. It wasn't pain anymore. It was pressure, like something was pushing outward from inside him. He took off his shirt and looked in the mirror. There it was, small lump under his right shoulder blade. Round, smooth, and slightly glowing. He touched it, and it twitched. He jumped back, heart racing. "What the hell is happening to me?" he whispered. He tried to report it, but stopped. Lyra's words echoed in his mind. "No one can know." What if he reported it, and they locked him up, or worse, took him apart? He knew some aliens didn't see humans as equals. Some just saw them as test subjects. For 2 days, the bulge grew. It stayed hidden under his uniform. But he felt it moving sometimes, pulsing like it had a heartbeat. It didn't hurt, but it didn't feel right either. He started hearing faint whispers in his mind, like someone trying to talk through a wall. On the 3rd night, the bulge moved. Again, Daniel dropped his food tray in the hallway and staggered back to his room. He collapsed on the bed, breathing hard. The whispers were louder now. And then he blacked out. He dreamed of lights, stars, and alien voices. He saw Lyra standing in front of a massive machine, arguing with someone in shadows. He heard the word serum, then forbidden, then human tests failed, then he saw himself glowing, eyes bright, back rippling with energy. He woke up with a scream, covered in sweat. He sat up slowly, and that's when he realized the bulge had changed shape. It now looked like a folded wing, pressed under his skin. His reflection in the mirror looked different, sharper jaw, brighter eyes, faster breath. Something was happening to his body, and it wasn't stopping just then. His cabin door slid open. It was Lyra, pale and breathing fast. "You need to listen to me," she said, eyes wide. The serum was never meant to be used again. Daniel stood up, his back burning with heat. "What did you do to me?" he asked, voice low. Lyra shook her head. "I made a mistake. But now it's too late." She looked around nervously. "They're watching. We don't have much time." Daniel stepped forward. "You said no one can know." She nodded slowly, because if they do, they'll erase both of us. He stared at her. And then, at his reflection, something was moving under his skin again. Something alive, and it wasn't done growing yet. Daniel didn't sleep that night. Even when he closed his eyes, the whispers continued. They weren't just sounds, they were thoughts. And they weren't his. At first, they were broken, like radio static, but slowly. They started forming words, strange words, alien words. Then one sentence stood out clearly. "We are awake." Daniel sat up in bed, breathing hard. The lump on his back hit was no longer just a lump. It moved with him like a second heartbeat. And now? It had a voice. He stared into the mirror, watching his own eyes. They looked sharper again, more focused, like something inside him was watching back. "Who's there?" he whispered. No reply came from the mirror, but a voice answered inside. His mind, "You are host. I am core. We must grow." Daniel stumbled back, knocking over a chair. This wasn't normal. This wasn't human. He rushed to the sink, splashed cold water on his face. Was he hallucinating, dreaming, going crazy, or was he becoming something else? Lyra didn't come back the next day. No messages, no updates, no apology. Daniel tried to focus on his regular tasks, but even basic work was now too easy. His mind moved faster. Like someone had turned on a second brain, he fixed 2 broken scanners in minutes, solved a mineral puzzle others couldn't crack in days. He even predicted a solar flare that the ship's AI missed, and all the time the voice whispered inside. Him, observe, calculate, remember, it wasn't just alive, it was intelligent. The Bulge, the core, was thinking, learning, and talking to him. And it was doing more. Sometimes, when he stared at someone too long, he could feel their mood. He guessed things before they happened, small things, but accurate. A door opening, a crew member's sneeze, a machine failure 5 seconds before it occurred. Then something strange happened during lunch. Daniel was eating alone, as usual, when 2 alien officers walked by. They were speaking in their own language, fast and harsh. Normally, he couldn't understand a word, but now, the meaning slipped into his mind like a translation app. "We have to monitor the human. His levels are off the chart. She should have destroyed that serum." Daniel froze, spoon in midair. They were talking about him. They knew something had changed, and they were watching him. Later that day, Daniel found Lyra in the lower deck lab. She looked tired, her face pale, hands shaking. "You shouldn't be here," she said, without turning. "You injected me," Daniel said, voice low. "You knew what it was." Lyra nodded slowly. "I thought it was safe. I didn't think it would activate in a human." "What is it?" Daniel asked. "What's inside me?" Lyra finally looked at him, eyes full of fear. "It's a band experiment from years ago," she said. "A living core made from neural biogel, designed to evolve, to bond with a host and grow intelligence together." "Why was it banned?" Daniel asked. "Because the last host went insane," she whispered, "and destroyed an entire research station." Daniel's jaw clenched. "So why did you still use it?" She looked away, ashamed. "Because I thought humans were too weak. I didn't expect it to work." "Well," Daniel said. Stepping closer, it worked. The core pulsed under his skin like it heard every word. Suddenly, Daniel's mind flashed images. Blueprints, codes he'd never seen before. Alien schematics for something called Project Elevate. Weapons, upgrades, failed hosts, and human DNA samples. He stepped back, dizzy. Holding his head, the voice returned. Louder now. Access complete. Knowledge received. Danger rising. Daniel. Gasp. "It's hacking your systems." Lyra's eyes went wide. "It's learning too fast." "This is worse than I feared. I need answers." Daniel said, "Who else knows?" Lyra hesitated, then whispered the ship's command, And the original designers. They're not here, but they will come if they detect activation. Daniel's heart raced. They were coming. And they wouldn't want to study him, they'd want to erase him. As they spoke, an alert flashed on the lab wall. Unauthorized neural spike detected Dorogen. Human quarters, they found you, Lyra said, panicking. They're coming now. Daniel turned to run, then stopped. The core spoke again, 2 guards approaching. Hallway left, he moved just in time, slipping through a side door. Sure enough, 2 armed guards passed by, scanning the lab. Daniel ducked into a maintenance tunnel, breathing fast. In the dark, he whispered, "You can see them, I can." "See everything," the core replied, "but now you must choose hide or evolve." Daniel moved like a shadow through the ship's hidden paths. Maintenance tunnels, emergency shafts, old storage vents, he used them all. The core guided him, drawing maps in his mind. He could feel the ship now, like it was part of him. He could sense heat from walls, vibrations in pipes, even footsteps 3 levels above him. "They are searching, but they are blind," the core whispered. "Your signal is masked." Daniel had no idea how it did that, but he wasn't going to complain. He just knew one thing: if the alien command found him, they'd lock him away or erase him completely. The serum wasn't just a mistake, it was a secret, a dangerous one. He crawled into a forgotten storage bay and collapsed. His body ached, his head spun. He stared at his hands. His skin looked different, smoother, stronger, like it had adjusted itself, and his fingers were moving faster than before, reacting quicker than his thoughts. "What am I becoming?" he whispered. "You are adapting," the core replied, "becoming efficient." Daniel shivered. It didn't say stronger, it said efficient. That felt worse somehow. Then came the message, not a sound, not a voice, but a memory that wasn't his, a flash of a secret meeting. Aliens in dark robes, glowing eyes, standing over a hologram of Earth. They were speaking in an ancient language, but the core translated, "Begin Phase 2. The human test subjects are ready. Once one survives the serum, we proceed to full capture." Daniel's breath caught. Test subjects, they had planned this. He wasn't the only one. But he might be the only one still alive. He focused, asking the core silently, "Can you find the others?" "No signals match. No survivors detected," it replied. Daniel's stomach twisted. So many humans on board, and they had used them like lab rats. And now that he had survived, they would come to take him apart, to find out why. He needed proof. He needed to expose this, not just survive it. The core pulsed again. A hidden archive exists in the command deck subsection. Gamma. Red zone access. That's where the secrets are, Daniel muttered. "Correct," said the core. "Security is high. But I can disrupt local sensors for 22 seconds. It wasn't much time, but it was something. Daniel made a plan. Move fast, stay low, no mistakes. He reached the red zone entrance by night cycle. 2 guards stood by the door, tall and armored, their weapons humming. He didn't try to sneak past them. He activated the panel nearby and waited. The lights flickered, the alarms blinked once, then went silent. "Now," the core said. Daniel ran, sliding through the sensor field just as it glitched. He was in. The archive was cold and dark. Rows of data crystals glowed faintly on floating shelves. He touched one, and a stream of images entered his mind. Experiment logs, human vitals, death charts. They had tried the serum on 17 humans before him. None survived more than 3 days. 1 exploded, 1 melted from the inside. Daniel was subject 18. He wasn't lucky, he was chosen. And worst of all, Lyra was listed as the lead scientist. Her name appeared in almost every file. She hadn't made a mistake. She had followed the plan. Daniel staggered back, heart pounding. She lied to him over and over, pretending to help, pretending to feel guilty. A voice came from behind. "I didn't know you'd survive." He turned fast, ready to fight. It was Lyra, her face cold, arms crossed. "You used me," Daniel said. Voice shaking, "You watched the others die." Lyra looked down, her voice flat. "They were necessary failures. You were different. Your body accepted it. I trusted you," he snapped. "You were never supposed to trust me," she replied. Daniel clenched his fists. The core hummed louder, energy rushing through him. He could see her weak points, predict her movements. But he held back. "I'm not your lab animal," he said. "No," she agreed. "You're something else now." She reached into her coat and dropped a small device. It blinked red, then beeped. The lights in the room dimmed as the door behind her locked. "I activated the failsafe," she said. "If I die, the ship alerts Central Command." Daniel stared at her. She was ready to die to protect the secret. And if she didn't, others would come. "You don't understand what you're becoming," she said. "The core will change you, twist you, and one day you'll be nothing but a weapon." Daniel stepped forward. "Then maybe it's time humanity stopped being the test subject. Maybe it's time we became the threat." The core pulsed with agreement. "Well said." Behind the locked door, alarms started to sound. Security had been triggered. Time was running out. Daniel grabbed the crystals and looked back at Lyra. "This isn't over," he said. She didn't reply. He vanished into the shadows again. The hunt had begun, but this time, he wasn't running. He was planning to fight back. The ship felt different now. It was no longer just a vessel in space. It was a battlefield. Every hallway Daniel crossed felt like it was watching him. Every door, every camera, every crew member. Might be a trap. He had the data crystals hidden inside a metal case under his jacket. They felt heavy not in weight, but in truth, the proof of lies, of human experiments, of what they had turned him into. "You are the last prototype," the core whispered inside him. "The final test of evolution protocol." "What is that?" Daniel asked, walking through a dark ventilation shaft. His fingers traced the metal walls as he moved. The core responded slowly, carefully. A program designed by the higher councils using forbidden gene science. It was made to create a new form of soldier. "Why humans?" he asked. "Why us?" "Because humans adapt," said the core. "You are soft, yet survive. Simple, yet clever. Underestimated by all." Daniel paused. He had always been told humans were weak, barely useful in space society, but now he was being told they were the perfect base for something more. Something dangerous. He reached the tech lab on the lower deck. An old place. Abandoned since a reactor leak years ago. No one came here anymore, but the power still worked. Daniel connected the crystal to an old terminal. A soft light filled the room as the data opened. Lines of alien code scrolled across the screen. Blueprints, video logs, DNA models, and then a file marked Protocol HFY. He opened it, and a message played. A hooded alien figure spoke, its voice deep and cold. "The serum is incomplete, unstable. If any subject survives, monitor the mental changes, especially signs of independence. Destroy them before they reach full merge." Daniel's hands curled into fists. They didn't want him to evolve. They only wanted to study the process, then kill the result. He closed the file, heart pounding. Something clicked in his mind. They never feared failure. They feared success. The core pulsed again. "You are approaching full merge. What happens when it's complete?" Daniel asked. A long silence followed. Then the core whispered, "You will become something they cannot control." Suddenly, alarms blared through the lower deck. "Security breach in restricted zone." The ship's AI voice echoed. Daniel cursed under his breath, grabbed the crystal, and ran. Guards were coming. He couldn't fight them all, not yet. He ducked into a side tunnel, climbed a ladder, and slipped into an old waste chute. It smelled like oil and burned circuits. But it led him away from the danger. As he crawled through the narrow shaft, the core spoke again. If you are captured, the merge will be terminated. They will dissect the host. Daniel clenched his jaw. No one's dissecting me. He made it to the engine room, where few dared to enter without clearance. The noise was deafening. Machines roared like monsters. Heat blasted through vents. He crouched behind a fuel tank, breathing hard. Then he saw etched into the wall behind old pipes, a symbol drawn in red, shaped like a human skull with glowing eyes beneath it. A message in scratched English. We survived, we hide, we wait. Daniel stared, stunned. Others had survived, not many, not public, but someone had made it this far before him. Core. He whispered, "Can you detect any signals? Anything nearby?" The answer came slower this time. Dormant signal found. Deep Deck 9, code locked. Daniel stood, shaking off the heat. "Take me there," he said. He had to find them, whoever left that message. They knew more. As he moved toward the lift, a sudden pain hit his spine, sharp and burning. He fell to one knee, gasping. The core pulsed hard. And a new vision flooded his mind. He saw claws, wings, lightning moving under his skin. He saw himself flying through fire, eyes glowing like suns, and he heard the word over and over, awakening. Then it stopped. Daniel opened his eyes slowly. The pain was gone. His body felt lighter, faster, more alive. He stood up, realizing the bulge on his back had shifted again. It was larger now, almost shaped like a folded spine armor, and something inside it was beating not like a heart, but like an engine. He stepped into the deep elevator shaft. As the lift lowered, the lights flickered and dimmed. The core whispered again, "You are not the weapon. You are the answer to one." Daniel stared at the ground rising below him. This wasn't just evolution. This was war, and he had just joined the front line. The ship's hangar was dark, silent, and nearly empty. Daniel moved fast, his body feeling sharper with every step. The engine room's heat was behind him. Now his mind was clearer, his senses sharper. The core inside him buzzed with steady energy. Stealth is active, vitals suppressed, tracking disabled, it whispered. Ahead of him stood a small emergency shuttle, fast, silent, used only for short-range scouting. Daniel climbed inside, sealed the hatch, and pulled up the nav screen. "Show me the nearest outpost," he said. The screen lit up, blinking slowly. One red dot appeared. Hidden outpost floating near the edge of a dead asteroid belt. Outpost 17X, labeled abandoned. But the core said otherwise. Survivor signals faint. Encrypted, human pattern detected. Daniel didn't ask questions. He launched the shuttle. Flying silent through space, as the stars blurred past him, he sat still, watching the black void outside. Something was waiting for him out there. Something was waiting for him. Out there, something. That might explain who he really was. The journey took 4 hours. As the shuttle approached the asteroid belt, Daniel could see the outpost, an old metal station, rusted, half buried in rock. No lights, no beacons. No signs of life, just silence. But the core whispered again. Energy pulses detected below surface. Artificial life support engaged. He landed quietly and stepped outside, wearing a pressure suit just in case. The station looked dead, but Daniel trusted the core. He walked toward a cracked entry hatch and placed his hand on the scanner. It beeped once, then turned green. Access granted. He froze. It had accepted him without code, without ID. That meant someone had programmed this place to recognize him, or something like him. Inside, the air was thin and cold. Flickering lights lined the hallways, and dust floated like ghosts. Daniel moved carefully, his boots silent, his eyes scanning every corner. The deeper he went, the stranger it became. Signs on the wall were written in both alien script and English: test room, evolution chamber, human sector. At the far end of the hallway, he found a sealed door with the words burned into the steel. "We were first." He touched the panel beside it, and it slid open slowly inside. The room for cryopods stood in a circle, glowing dim blue. Only one was still occupied. A woman floated inside human. Pale skin, hair shaved, a scar across her temple. A tag read, Subject 07 status. Dorman Daniel stepped closer. Then suddenly, her eyes opened. The pod hissed open as steam filled the room. She stepped out, weak but alert. "You're not one of them," she said, voice rough. Daniel nodded. "I'm like you," he said. "I survived the serum." Her eyes widened. "That's impossible." He raised his shirt and turned, showing her the bulge in his back, now shaped like a half-formed exospine. The woman stepped back, eyes full of both fear and recognition. "You're further than I ever got," she said. "They said no one else made it." "They lied," Daniel said. "To all of us." She nodded slowly. "I'm Claire," she said. Subject 7, last survivor of Phase 1. Daniel helped her sit as he explained everything: the ship, the serum, Lyra, the merge, and the project's secret files. Claire listened carefully, then sighed. "They promised us we'd become protectors of Earth," she said we were chosen. "Instead, they left us here to die." Daniel clenched his fists. All this time, humanity thought it was being welcomed into the Galactic Council, he said. "But we were being farmed." Claire nodded again. "They didn't think we'd survive," she whispered. "They thought they could control what we became." Daniel looked around the outpost. "How many more were there?" 37, she said quietly. "But most didn't survive the first week." Daniel stood and walked to a wall terminal. "Core, scan this outpost. Find anything useful." "Processing," the core responded. A moment later, it spoke again. "Weapon cache detected. Medical lab functional. Communications array operational. We can send a message," Daniel said. "Not to the Council, not to the aliens, to Earth." Claire shook her head. "If you do that, they'll know we're alive." "I want them to know," Daniel replied. "I want Earth to prepare." He stepped toward the comms room. Claire followed slowly, her body still recovering. They powered up the ancient console, connected the signal booster, and began recording. Daniel stared at the blinking red light, then spoke clearly. "This is Daniel, human subject 18. Speaking from Outpost 17X. If you're hearing this, then the truth is out. They used us, they lied to you. But we're still here." He paused, then continued. "And we're not done." He hit send. The signal raced through deep space, to Earth, to anyone listening. As the console powered down, Claire looked at him. "What now?" she asked. Daniel looked toward the stars outside the cracked window. "We evolve," he said, "and then we fight." The message was sent. Daniel stood in silence as the console powered down somewhere across cold space. Earth would hear his voice. He had exposed the lies, he had told the truth, but what he didn't expect was the reply. It came 5 hours later, a low-frequency signal, buried under layers of encryption. Claire was asleep, recovering in the med bay. Daniel sat alone at the console when the transmission reached the outpost. Subject 18. This is Control. You were not supposed to activate comms. Proceed to uplink Site Delta immediately. The voice was human, calm, without emotion. Daniel stared at the screen, confused. Earth responded, but not with shock, not with worry. With instructions, he played the message again, trying to find clues, but the voice was flat, like it had expected him. "Core," Daniel said. "Can you trace this signal?" "Confirmed," it replied. Origin: Human Black Site Network. Classified location: Daniel stood up slowly. A strange chill running through his spine. This doesn't make sense, he muttered. They should have been surprised. The core stayed silent, but its pulse grew stronger, like it also felt something was wrong. Claire entered, rubbing her eyes. I heard the signal, she said. Was it Earth? Daniel nodded. But they weren't shocked, Claire, he said. They gave me coordinates. Her face went pale. That means they knew, she said. Softly, they knew the serum worked. Daniel sat back down, trying to process it all. Maybe this was never about testing, he said. Maybe it was about building something in secret. Claire nodded, slowly. A hidden army. She whispered, built in the shadows, using alien science. The more they talked, the more the pieces fit. The serum, the secret tests. The silence from Earth. It wasn't a mistake. It was a plan. Daniel looked at the coordinates: an old moon near a dead star system. No records, no name, just Black Site Delta. I'm going, Daniel said. I need to know the truth. I'm coming with you, Claire said, standing taller. Now, you're not doing this alone. They repaired the shuttle and set course. As they flew, the stars outside felt colder, darker. Daniel couldn't stop thinking about the voice, the calm tone, the exact instructions, not "Who are you?" Not what happened, just orders. The trip took a full day. As they approached the dead moon, they saw it, a structure hidden beneath the surface. Metal towers buried in rock, lights flickering faintly. No signal came, no greeting, just silence. They landed near a cracked hangar and stepped inside. The place was huge, dusty, and empty. Daniel moved through the halls with Claire behind him. Then the lights flickered on. One by one, a voice echoed. Through the building, "Welcome back, Subject 18. They froze. Daniel looked around. I don't like this, Claire whispered. A door opened ahead, and an old human man stood in the center of a control room. Gray hair, sharp eyes, long coat. He smiled as they entered. Daniel, he said. You've done better than expected. Who are you? Daniel asked. The man stepped forward. I'm Dr. Harlan, he said, lead architect of Evolution Protocol. Daniel's fists clenched. You used us, he said. You sent us to die. Harlan shook his head slowly. No, we sent you to survive. You were the only hope. Claire stepped forward, her voice cold. You abandoned 37 of us. Harlan looked at her sadly, and we mourned every failure, he said. But the truth is, this was never about saving one human. It was about awakening what lies dormant in all of you. Daniel stared at him. You're saying this was always Earth's plan? Harlan nodded. We knew the aliens saw us as weak, he said, but we used that. We let them believe we were harmless. Then we offered subjects for testing under their rules, but under our control. Daniel felt sick. So, you used their tech, but made your own version. Harlan smiled again. The core you carry, it's not alien, he said. It's hybrid, half human. Daniel stepped back, confused. You made this? Yes, Harlan said. You're not just a survivor, Daniel. You're the first of a new species. Claire grabbed Daniel's arm, whispering they don't want to stop the war. She said they want to start one. Daniel looked back at Harlan. What now? He asked. Harlan turned to the screen behind him. A map of the galaxy appeared, blinking with red and green markers. Now, he said, we prepare to take our place among the stars with force, if needed. The core pulsed inside Daniel's spine. Faster now, it whispered. Danger detected. Full merge available. Do you wish to complete evolution? Daniel didn't answer yet. He looked out the window at the stars, and wondered if he had just become the weapon they always wanted. Daniel stood in silence, staring at the galaxy map on the screen. Red markers blinked like scars. spread across dozens of worlds. Each one marked a human colony. A station or an outpost hidden from alien eyes. Harlan stood behind him, calm, confident. "This is our moment," he said. "We're done hiding. The time has come to show them what humans really are." Daniel said nothing, but his pulse quickened inside him. The core hummed louder than ever. It was no longer just a presence. It was part of him, awake, fully alive, merge complete. It whispered. "Human Prime Protocol active." Claire stood at his side, quiet but alert. She looked at Daniel, the strange light growing in his eyes at the new shape under his skin. "You feel it too, don't you?" she asked. Daniel nodded. "I'm changing again." He said, "Faster now." Harlan walked toward them, hands behind his back. "You're stronger than we ever dreamed," he said to Daniel. "You're the first of a new kind human mind. Enhanced body, symbiotic core. You're not our weapon," he added. "You're our future." Daniel turned to face him. "And what about the others?" he asked. "The ones who died, the ones you left behind." Harlan paused for just a moment, then said, "They paved the way. A future always has a cost." Claire stepped forward, voice sharp. "You don't get to decide that," she said. "You don't get to use people like pieces on a board." Harlan didn't flinch. "They were brave," he said. "But the war is coming faster than you. No, the Council suspects the alien empires are watching Earth. We needed something they wouldn't expect." Daniel clenched his fists. His spine itched with energy, and the air around him seemed to shift. The core inside him wasn't just adapting anymore, it was evolving on its own. "You are ready," it whispered, "but the path is yours to choose." He looked at Harlan, then at the map again. "What if I say no?" Daniel asked. "What?" "If I walk away?" Harlan smiled. "You won't," he said, "because you know what's coming." Suddenly, alarms echoed through the structure. The lights turned red, and a voice shouted through the intercom. "Unidentified ships entering. System, hostile signatures confirmed." Daniel's eyes widened. How did they find this place? Harlan moved quickly, activating defense systems. "The core's activation sent out a pulse," he said. "It was only a matter of time, outside." The sky turned fire red as alien warships pierced the clouds. Long black vessels with glowing green lights. Elite hunters of the Galactic Council trained to kill enhanced threats. Daniel and Claire followed Harlan to the control chamber. Screens showed the incoming ships, hundreds of them, surrounding the moon. "We can't fight this," Claire said. "We can," Harlan said. "If you're ready." Daniel looked at the sky. He could feel the ships before they appeared. His body reacted to their energy signatures. "Minds detected," the core said. "Hostile intent confirmed." "I can sense them," Daniel whispered. "I know what they're thinking." Claire looked at him, shocked. "You're connected to them?" "No," he said. "I'm beyond them." He stepped outside the base as the first ship descended. It fired a plasma bolt toward the surface. Daniel raised his hand. Pure instinct. A pulse of light erupted from his palm. The bolt stopped. Mid-air, cracked and vanished. Claire gasped. "You didn't block it," she said. "You erased it." Harlan watched from the tower above, his voice full of awe. "He's doing it." The other ships moved in closer, weapons aimed at Daniel. He didn't move. He just breathed in slowly, and the air around him shimmered like glass. Wings unfolded from his back made not of metal, but of pure energy. He rose into the air, glowing like a star, and for the first time, the alien commanders hesitated. The message was clear. This human was no longer prey. "This is not your galaxy anymore," Daniel said. "It belongs to the ones who adapt." The sky exploded in light as the first wave of alien ships fired, but Daniel moved through the blasts like wind. His body a blur of motion and light, He struck back not with missiles, but with precision. He targeted mines, sensors, command links. He didn't destroy, he disabled. He let them flee, and they did. Within minutes, the fleet scattered, pulling away from the moon like a wounded beast. Earth's secret had just screamed across the stars. Humanity was not weak anymore. Claire ran to him as he landed. "You didn't kill them," she said. Daniel shook his head. "Not yet," he replied. "We're not monsters." But now they know. Behind them, the human base came alive. Old soldiers stepped forward. Hidden scientists emerged from deep bunkers. They had waited for a leader. Now they had one. Daniel looked to the stars. The war wasn't over. It had just begun, and this time, humanity wasn't going to survive. It was going to win.